Let's transition and let's go to some college football as Caleb Williams outlasted Shedeur Sanders as the USC Trojans beat the Colorado Buffaloes 48-41. For the Trojans, Caleb Williams played great. He went 30 of 40. He threw for 403 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. For the Buffaloes, Sanders had 30 of 45, 371 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And this receiver for the Buffaloes, Miller, 7 receptions, 196 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. So my biggest takeaway from this matchup between USC and Colorado is the Colorado Buffaloes deserve a lot of credit, because when you look at what they were missing in this matchup, there was no Shiloh and there was no Travis Hunter. And the way that they were able to battle back in the second half, give the Buffaloes credit. We know how elite Caleb Williams is. Caleb Williams is probably going to be the #1 overall pick in the draft next year. The Arizona Cardinals, they are literally trying to tank and lose games so they can draft Caleb Williams. You look at what Caleb Williams has been able to do so far this season. Caleb Williams has 21 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1,603 passing yards. He's completing 75% of his passes. Caleb Williams, he's the real deal. He is the real deal. Make no mistake about it. And I watched him in this matchup against Colorado. I watched this game start to finish, and I said, that guy is going to be great at the next level. Now, we know coaching and situation matters in the NFL, but if he can be in the right system, in the right situation, with the right coach, Caleb Williams will be special at the NFL level. And in this game, the receiver that stepped up for Caleb Williams was Taj Washington. Taj Washington had 8 receptions for 117 receiving yards, 1 touchdown, but it wasn't just him. Brandon Rice, this is Jerry Rice's son, he also had a nice game. 5 receptions, 81 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a play in the game where I think he almost messed up his ankle, but thank God he was able to walk off the field, and hopefully he's good moving forward. But I felt like the USC Trojans, the way that they were able to move the football in the first half, we knew coming into the game that defensively the Buffaloes, they struggle. And I thought Caleb Williams had his way in the first half. And the Trojans outscored the Buffaloes 34-14 in the first half. And so I was thinking, okay, this is going to be a blowout. The Trojans are going to increase their lead in the second half. And this is going to be Colorado, Oregon all over again. Colorado, Oregon all over again. And they're about to take off on the Buffaloes. But give Shedeur Sanders and this Buffaloes football team credit, because they did not quit. Shedeur Sanders goes 30 of 45, 371 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception in a game in which the Buffaloes trailed all afternoon long. So this is the thing. In the game, the Buffaloes, they had 193 rushing yards, and that's great for them, because they haven't been able to run the football so far this year. But considering the Trojans had a 20-point halftime lead, everyone in the stadium knew that the Buffaloes were trying to get back into the game, and they knew that Shedeur Sanders had to throw the football. See, to me, what makes a quarterback great is when you know what's coming and you can't do nothing about it. There are times when the Chiefs are trailing in games, and you know the football is going to be in Patrick Mahomes' hands. And so to me, that's what makes a quarterback great. And that is what separates the good quarterbacks from the great quarterbacks. Because you know the football is going to be in the quarterback's hands moving forward. It happened in the Super Bowl when the Patriots were up 28-3 on the Falcons. I know Falcons fans don't want to hear this, but when your team is losing by double digits, you know that the quarterback has to deliver throwing the football in the second half. In the same way Tom Brady performed in the second half in the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons that year, that's what Sanders did. Now, they didn't win the game. I also didn't like the way they managed that last possession when they had the football. For whatever reason, they were running the ball. You know you're down by 7 points. So you have to – well, actually, they did – okay, exactly on that last possession, they did score a touchdown. They were down 14 points. I'm sorry. The Buffaloes were down 14 points. So you know you had to score twice. I didn't understand why they kept running the football on that last possession. Because basically what they essentially did was they basically said either we're going to get this onside kick or we're just going to lose. I didn't like that, the way that they managed that last possession. The last possession for the Buffaloes, they were down 14. You need 14 points. So you need to score quick, try to play some defense, and get the ball back and give Sanders some time to tie the game up. They didn't do that. They ran the football in their last possession. That made no sense to me. I hate the way the Buffaloes managed that last possession. But overall, give them credit. The Buffaloes outscored the Trojans 27-14 in the second half. Give them credit. What did you take out? Give them credit. Give them credit. Sorry about that. But I feel like overall, the Trojans, they still are an elite offense. They improved to 5-0 in the season. Colorado drops to 3-2. And so Colorado, they are in Arizona State next week. And that's a game that they should win. They'll be favored in that matchup against Arizona State. They should win that game. And USC, they have to play Arizona, and they'll be favored in that game as well. And USC, they may creep their way up into that playoff conversation as the season goes along. Because I think it's a great possibility that Caleb Williams could win back-to-back Heisman trophies. It could happen. I feel like right now he is the leader right now in the Heisman conversation. But I'm not going to count out Shedeur Sanders either. I'm excited for Shedeur Sanders at the next level. I really, really am. I think Shedeur Sanders, to me, Shedeur Sanders is more so like Brady, and Caleb Williams to me is more like an Aaron Rodgers or a Patrick Mahomes. Like, he has the ability to make plays with his legs. He can scramble and move in the pocket. Shedeur Sanders is a type of quarterback to where he will manipulate the pocket, but he's not a great mobile quarterback. I'm not saying that he can't scramble at all, but I think Caleb Williams is more mobile than Sanders is. But Sanders will pick you apart in the pocket. He did it in the second half. He picked that Trojans defense apart even without Travis Hunter. And again, I felt like overall the Buffaloes, they should feel good moving forward because they were able to stay competitive in the second half even without Shiloh and Travis Hunter, two of their best defensive players. But very entertaining game to watch Saturday. I watched it start to finish, and I love Klatt and I can't think of the other broadcaster on the call for Fox, but I love that they call those games. You know, it's just amazing because you got noon kickoff, and you got all the things that happened before the game. It was just an amazing sight to see and witness even being in my living room here in Cincinnati, it was just amazing to see the atmosphere out there in Colorado. The atmosphere was amazing. So Gus Johnson, that's his name. Gus Johnson is the play-by-play announcer for Fox. Him and Joe Klatt called this game. Shout out to Gus Johnson. I love how he calls games, and I love him as a play-by-play announcer. But great game between the Trojans and Buffaloes. Trojans have Arizona next week. Buffaloes have Arizona State.